No gray is gray in color. Even drone-engineered grays like this four-fingered hand in this photo are pale in color, similar to human skin. And notice the long, dark fingernails of this being. Linda, in your book, An Alien Harvest, on page 59, you quote abductee Judy Doherty describing two gray entities that were dissecting tissue from a mutilated calf taken from a pasture outside Houston, Texas in May of 1973. Quote, Judy wrote, "Their hands look funny. They have long claw nails, almost like an animal's dark nails. The original tall grays used this same nanotechnology for similar reasons, but seldom use it while in space traveling, nor did they use it while evolving in their home system of Epsilon Indi due to lower gravity there. The original grays from Epsilon Indi have a very slight tint of orange in their pigmentation.
Personally, I think this is a strengthening education about what all has happened around this, what was just going to be the first photo of a orange-gray hand and a head. The head is still a question mark, even in Earthfile Support's mind. He's very analytical and very critical, and he did a side-by-side comparison in which it is very true that the eye pattern in the, we'll call it the alleged real photo, versus the 3D created head, the eyes do not match. And you can do an examination and make a comparison, and you will see that. But that does not mean that there isn't a real extraterrestrial, sort of orangish gray being or civilization or species that looks exactly like that photo. And as Buddy pointed out, that's counter intel.
Always raise your fist to truth.
Greetings and salutations, friends. We are back for another round looking at the so-called evidence that one award-winning journalist, Linda Moulton Howe, has brought us. But interestingly, this isn't someone new. This is someone who has been banging around in UFO land for quite some time. recently, Linda Moulton Howe did a broadcast with one Kate Thorvaldsen, and we have her biography here. And I found a lot of inconsistencies with this woman's claims, but that's perhaps not really that relevant. We can stick to just the claims that she is making, which is essentially she's an alien hybrid and she's got alien implants all over her body. And what is her proof for this? Her proof for this is magnets stick to her. Yes, you heard it here first. What overwhelming smoking gun proof? What more overwhelming smoking gun proof of alien intervention with Earth, or perhaps an alien invasion, do you need than the overwhelming, groundbreaking evidence that magnets stick to this woman in various places, and therefore it's got to be true. She's an alien hybrid, 100%, and it's got to be true. She's got all these alien implants all over her body. Now, I would like to read for you her biography. It says Kate Thorvaldsen was born in Drammen, Norway in 1969. She had her first close encounter when she was only 3 years old, during which she met one of the small creatures we have come to know as the Greys. Great, very original. She was 10 years old when she met these creatures for a second time and was taken up to a craft. She lost her sense of smell during this event, and the encounter was also reported to UFO Norway as a light phenomenon in 1979. She was 29 years old when she had her third close encounter. And this already jumps out at me, because for many people, one close encounter with an extraterrestrial spacecraft would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not for Kate Thorvaldsen. She's seen aliens multiple times throughout her life, and perhaps apparently continues to see aliens. After her last encounter, she found out she had become highly sensitive to sounds. She could hear electronic noises from many different types of equipment, and even had to leave her room while her mobile phone was being charged. She had become very light sensitive, and her sense of smell had returned. In 2016, she found out that she has 35 symmetrical placed implants in her body where small neodymium magnets stick. These events had changed her in a fascinating way. From not being into physics, now, however, Kate may have cracked the shell of the universe that may hide a completely new theoretical astrophysics. Yeah, so all of the astrophysics professors on Earth, or experts, or PhDs, professors in astrophysics, they're all wrong. But this girl who has magnets that can stick to her is going to give us the true theory of the universe. Sure, the concepts to be detailed in her next book, The Creation, Where Physics and Consciousness Meet, will open your mind to a possible true nature of the universe. Her first book, and this is very telling. She's trying to sell books here, friends. Her first book, A Hybrid Story, is about her close encounters and other paranormal experiences. And this, of course, this biography of hers is from International UFO Congress, who we know has employed such brilliant information sources as the fake doctor, Jonathan Reed, right? So we know just how great this woman, conference organizers' vetting skills are. Before they booked Kate Thorvaldsen years ago, they booked a fake doctor who pretends to be a doctor and pretends that he had an alien in his freezer. So what incredibly high quality speakers this conference has. No, this is a stupid money grab designed to extract money from the pockets of stupid people who don't know the difference between a real doctor, right, and one that is a fake fraud. it just astounds me that a conference organizer wouldn't check somebody's education before just going, sure, Dr. Reed, come right here on the stage and tell us all about that alien that you were keeping in your freezer. Or is it that they know? I think they're in on it. I think they know. I believe that this is all profit-driven motives, of course, for um, making money. This sells. You're going to have this person show these magnets stick to her. Great. And does she have, any kind of medical person look at her and determine what's actually causing whatever she claims magnets to stick to her? She claims she has x-rays, and there is magnets that will stick to the implants, and the x-rays show the implants, but the x-rays, at least the photos that Linda Moulton Howe is showing of the x-rays, just seem like somebody took a standard x-ray and drew some circles on it. This is the worst evidence I have ever seen. And of course, Kate Thorvaldsen has all kinds of other claims that aren't included here. And some of her other claims, of course, is that she is somehow an alien hybrid. And you guys know I have a real problem with people who claim to be alien hybrids. After all, if you were truly an alien hybrid, wouldn't your genetics show some abnormalities, some alien DNA mixed with human DNA? None of these people who claim to be alien human hybrids will ever submit to DNA. And somebody reminded me, there is another book all about alien hybrids, and that book details the story of many different alien hybrids. It was written by a woman named Barbara Lamb, who we interviewed here, and another, she had a co-author on that book whose name escapes me, but Barbara came here, and I offered to pay for genetic testing for every one of the alleged alien human hybrids that she covered in her book, Meet the Hybrids. She had lots of excuses. I went back and forth with her many different times. I offered to pay for the genetic testing. I offered to pay, and I offered to sign a non-disclosure agreement, agreeing that I would not give those genetic samples to anybody but the testing company who would look at them, because apparently alien hybrids are completely paranoid that their DNA is, the government's going to get their DNA and then use their DNA to manufacture more hybrids. Or this gets absolutely 100% ridiculous. So in my experience so far, and besides the human alien hybrids in Barbara Land's book, who, by the way, all also had superpowers, I offered to test the superpowers. They didn't want to test their superpowers and prove they had superpowers. They didn't want genetic tests to prove that they were actually alien human hybrids. But besides the alien human hybrids detailed in Barbara Land's book, I have at various times encountered other people claiming to be alien human hybrids, most recently Marina Sarin, the Nazi girl. And again, I offered to pay for genetic testing so she could prove her alien heritage. She wouldn't take me up on it. Not a single one of these people who claim to be an alien human hybrid ever take me up on the offer. If you really believe that you were half alien, wouldn't you want to see a genetic study of your DNA so that you can prove to everyone in the world that you're not just a wackadoo? Of course you would. But not a single one of these people running around making money claiming to be an alien human hybrid. I think this is a ridiculous claim to make. When you have absolutely no evidence and you are absolutely opposed to any scientific scrutiny, study, or analysis of your genetics. After all, the root of the claim of being an alien human hybrid is at the root of it a genetic claim. You're claiming that you're half alien, and none of them will ever submit to any analysis, testing, genetic, anything, nothing. They will never, ever submit to that. And, to me, it's a very simple equation. You're making ridiculous claims, fantastical, out of this world claims that, if true, would change the entire course and history of humankind from here on in. Imagine if one of these people submitted to genetic tests and the geneticists looked at it and said, there's something here that's not human. Or they're half this person's genetics is alien to us. It's a different form of DNA, or it's somewhat compatible, whatever. This would change the entire human experience. It would be life altering, life changing, and not a single one of these people. And by the way, it's ridiculous that I even have to mention this, but there are literally hundreds of people running around on planet Earth claiming that they're half alien and half human. And I'm sorry, if you won't submit to simple genetic testing, I call bull on your claims. And I've heard all the excuses. Oh, we can't give genetic samples. Somebody could, develop bioweapons with that, or somebody could get that genetic information to the government, and then the government is going to do X, Y, or Z with my DNA. I mean, it's like a bad science fiction novel. And by the way, I'm a fan of science fiction. Alien human hybrids are a fixture in science fiction since the 60s. After all, Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock was perhaps the first alien human hybrid that really cemented the idea of an alien human hybrid in popular culture, because Mr. Spock was half Vulcan, an alien race, but very human-like, except for the ears and some other differences. I think they had different colored blood. They were stronger, but they were more or less similar or genetically compatible with humans. They were able to interbreed. So Mr. Spock is half human and half Vulcan. But after that, we get many, many more examples of alien and human hybrids. The V series, which I just rewatched, it's awesome, from 1984, chronicles one member of the resistance who has some sort of love affair with one of the lizard people, but I guess he kept his skin suit on and she didn't know he was a lizard man when she was banging the hell out of him. And the lizard man knocks her up, and we get Elizabeth, the first in that universe of fiction, the first alien human hybrid. And Elizabeth had all of these weird special abilities. She was half the reptilian alien and somehow half human, but appeared human. There was another alien human hybrid in that series that died at birth, and it was all deformed and reptilian like. But after that, we get time and time and time again. Countless episodes of Star Trek feature some story about half this alien and half that alien, or half this alien and half this and half human. It's in Babylon 5. There's alien human hybrids. I believe in Stargate, there's some sort of alien human hybrids. And in more recent times, we have Falling Skies, which heavily ripped off the alien human hybrid was created somehow. And of course, the alien human hybrid saves the day in that series, much like the alien human hybrid saved the day and wanted peace in the V series and television show. So there is a long history of, I suppose, cultural interest and impact of this idea. And it is, if you think about it, it is a very compelling idea. What if there really are intelligent alien beings from other worlds and they come here? Are we genetically compatible? And wouldn't that prove to us that maybe there is some seed of life, some DNA that all races, intelligent races or otherwise on in the universe, all come from the same stuff, the same genetic material? Now, there are various stories of gray alien human hybrids and gray alien breeding programs. And as much as I like some of those stories, because some of these stories are pretty interesting and compelling, I don't find any factual evidence to support that, despite there being an entire industry around selling stories of gray aliens running some breeding program, and all of these people are getting abducted because they're sucking the eggs and the sperm out of people. They're making alien human hybrids on the ships. They're bringing people back. It sounds like a good science fiction story to me, but like all good science fiction stories, it's fictional. There is no substantial or supportive evidence of true alien abductions taking place, let alone overwhelming evidence. There's just stories. And while I love and appreciate this whole sort of subculture for its lovely mythology and stories, right? I want more than a story from someone in order to believe. Now, further evidence of this Kate Thorvaldsen being somewhat of a grifter can be found with the quick Google search. And what you find, and I've been informed by somebody who lives in her home country that she's been banging around trying to sell a book and sell her story for quite some time. And this is problematic for me because if you really and truly were an alien hybrid, or you had proof of alien implants in your body, would the first thing that you do be to try to write a book and cash in about it? Or would you go to scientists and submit to serious academic scientific study if you could find a scientist willing to do it? And given that Gary P. Nolan is such a nutter, I think he would do it, but he's an immunologist. Again, I'm always confused by this. Why is an immunologist doing materials analysis? He's not qualified or educated in that field. Why is he doing DNA studies and samples? He's not qualified or educated in that field. But I'm sure she could find some kind of scientist that would do X-rays, MRIs, analyze whatever she's claiming. But it's convenient that the only proof we get is some X-rays from her that appear, at least to me, on first examination. And I will submit to say, people are free to correct me. They can send me the actual X-rays or copies of the X-rays, real copies, not, a picture taken on an iPhone. And I will have a qualified medical personnel look at them and tell us what is going on there. They're not going to do that. What you get is a picture of an X-ray taken on an iPhone that also appears to be highly edited. It looks like they just took a picture of a normal X-ray and drew some circles on it with a pencil or a pen. Like, this is the level of ridiculousness that this whole circus has descended into. Everyone is so desperate, literally desperate for evidence or proof that all these stories aren't fake, that we've all been hearing for several decades, some of us longer, some of us shorter. Many people came into this in 2016. They don't know the history, and I don't blame them, but you should study your history. These storytelling hucksters with, let's just say, less than credible evidence have been coming forward for decades now. And still we have not one piece of smoking gun evidence or proof of all the claims, thousands, tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people claiming aliens are visiting Earth. I'm sorry, I have to see actual proof or evidence of that. But if we look into the history of this Kate Thorvaldsen, we can see that birds of a feather, of course, flock together. And just based on her own associations, and that's another issue. If you had alien implants in your body, would you go to Linda Moulton Howe, who, by the way, we saw at the beginning of our broadcast here, just got caught selling a completely 100% fake story based on 100% provably fake artist-created images of an alien she claimed was a real alien? Like, would this be the person? Oh, let's go to journalist Linda Moulton Howe. No. This is what happens. These people are nutters, okay? And the people making the claims are nutters. The people selling the claims are oftentimes nutters, in my opinion. Pardon me if anybody is offended by the term nutter. I can't think of a better term than these people are nutters. the reason that she's going to Linda Moulton Howe is because a normal journalist would expect evidence. A normal journalist, somebody that's actually credible, would want testing, genetic testing. Let's get fresh x-rays that she can't tamper with, that we can then examine to see if she really does have some sort of implants in her body or whatever. Let's get an MRI and have a doctor or a pathologist examine all the body scans and see, does she really have some sort of anomalous material in her body in the pattern that she is claiming. And I guarantee you, if she submits to that little bit of scrutiny, her entire story will fall apart. Can I prove that? Not yet, but maybe. And we can see by her history that it's not just Linda Moulton Howe that she's hanging out with. She's hanging out with all manner of UFO fairy tale hucksters. And here we can see an example of that. How very credible. So she's hanging out with Linda Moulton Howe, who's about as credible as a crackhead. That's right. I said it. Linda Moulton Howe, as far as journalism is concerned, is about as credible as a crackhead holding a gas can asking you for money on a street corner. About as believable as a crackhead standing on a street corner with a gas can asking you for gas money, too, but not just the Linda Moulton Howe connection. Here we see her hanging out at a conference that I believe that she spoke at. And who else was speaking? Michael Salla, the guy that tells all those fake stories about the space battles and the Galactic Federation of Light, and Richard Dolan, a man who has been caught selling provably fake stories and claiming to be in possession of classified information from the United States government. No, he had to walk that back. He lied to sell a fake story again. And Richard Dolan has profited perhaps more than anyone else on planet Earth from the Wilson documents, which no one can prove are real, factual, or even can prove that they really did come from Edgar Mitchell's estate, unless you want to believe all these anonymous sources. We've got an anonymous source got the notes from the estate, an anonymous source, no longer anonymous source, leaked it to an Imager site. All kinds of anonymous sources Richard Dolan has to use, right? He's got to bring in Mr. X to help him sell that bullshit story. And it just gets worse and worse for Richard Dolan. Because the further Richard Dolan goes down this rabbit hole trying to earn a living, the like more risks he has to take in order to keep people interested in the garbage that he peddles. He is a garbage peddler. But I will say, if I have to choose who's the worst garbage peddler out of these two clowns, Michael Salla all day and all night. After all, Michael Salla is the guy who thought that William Tompkins was telling true stories. You remember that guy, the guy with the really bad rug that used to say that he had an alien girl assistant that was like blonde and hot and Nordic and would sit on his lap and stuff. You remember that guy, yeah. And also Corey Good and many, many other secret space, I'm going to call them secret space con artists. Michael Salla is like Linda Moulton Howe, about as credible as a crackhead with a gas can, standing on a street corner begging you for gas money to get home. I wouldn't take a Michael Salla book from somebody for free. If somebody gave me a Michael Salla book, I would either use it in the toilet or I would just burn it. It might be useful to start fires if you have a fireplace, but other than that, his books, everything that Michael Salla produces is absolute garbage. And Salla is one of those people like David Wilcock that thinks if it's written on the internet and I cite it, that's proof. No, it's not proof. He has no proof of anything. And the more fantastical the claims are, the more evidence you need to support them. But this general rule of the way the real world works escapes this delusional fantasy land called the UFO circus, right? You just got to create a circus, sell a story. This is what this is about, this story tonight. And here's Kate hanging out with UFO grifters extraordinaire, Richard Dolan and Michael Salla, both of which haven't had a real job and have made their living solely by selling UFO and alien bull for decades now. Very credible. So again, why would you go to these people if your story was real? Wouldn't you go to like CNN or MSNBC, somebody that's credible? I mean, I know I would. And here's where things get problematic as well, because this Kate Thorvaldsen, I don't know how to say her name. If I'm mangling it, I apologize. This Kate Thorvaldsen is selling books and has been. Oh, by the way, did I do what I think I did? Yes, I did. Damn it. There's a whole bunch more pictures on this Kate Thorvaldsen's Facebook. I don't need to share them here. You can look up Kate Thorvaldsen in the on Facebook. You can go to her Facebook page, and which is like a fan page. Yeah, that really adds to credibility. I'm an alien hybrid, and I have a fan page on Facebook. You got a fan page, honey? This is ridiculous. But so she has a fan page, and on her fan page there are photos of her, which appear to be pretty old, 10 or more years old, and photos of her at all these UFO conferences and things like that. So, you know, we get sort of a sense that this girl's been here trying to hawk her story for quite some time. Sadly for her, and I'm sad when I think about this, the high point of her life so far has been getting an interview with Moulton Howe. Like, that's the best thing that's ever happened to her. And that's sad to me. That is incredibly sad to me. But on her Facebook page, you can go check it out. There is a ton of pictures of her speaking at conferences, hanging out at conferences, selling her books at conferences, whatever. She's got a story to sell you. And she has absolutely no evidence and no proof, except that she can do a magic trick, something I'm quite familiar with, and make magnets stick to her. Great. All right. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna share one more thing here about this Kate Thorvaldsen before we get to the video. We want to welcome all of our friends listening across the globe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, and Odyssey. To our live stream. Let me see if we can. 1 second here. All right, this is the back of her book. And by the way, there's inconsistencies between her story on one site you look at versus the other site. It's like she just writes things out and you know, writes things out. And here's something interesting. Kate Thorvaldsen is the author of this book, but in the back of the book, she talks about herself in the third person, which I find cringeworthy when somebody does that. It's like me saying, you know, Stephen Cambion is this, Stephen Cambion is that, Stephen Cambion is... No, you would say I or me, not talk about yourself in the third person. And to be very honest with you, somebody that does that always appears to me to be self-aggrandizing and arrogant to even do that. But here we are. And by the way, she wrote this book, so she's wait till you see what she says about herself. In December 2015, Kate discovered that she had at least 25 symmetrically placed implants in her body. That's a problem, because now she's up to 35 implants. I guess 25 implants wasn't enough, so it's 35 implants now since she wrote the book. Neodymium magnets placed directly over them will hold on her bare skin without falling off. These implants are in her face, her neck, across her collarbone, and down her spine. They were placed there by beings from another world who first visited Kate in her bed when she was just 3 years old. She has never been afraid of these beings, but knows them as her friends, teachers, and guides. I would submit to you that somebody jamming alien implants into your body is not your friend, your teacher, or your guide. You know, even just the logic of some of these people, it really escapes me. And I don't understand how they say the things they say without realizing, like, wait a minute, that's a plot hole. We got to fix that, right? They don't. What a plot hole. My friends, the aliens, are putting implants in my body for unknown reasons, right? But they're my friends and my teachers. This makes no sense. And here's where it gets funny, because again, remember, she is writing this. This woman wrote this about herself. Kate is an extraordinarily beautiful woman with a great sense of humor, a powerful magnetic personality. Well, yeah, magnets stick to her. I guess she does have a magnetic personality. And talents, which include artist, fashion model, author, wedding dress designer, and maker. Perhaps most surprising of all, for many years, geez, what does that say? She has been fully, for many years, she has been typo in her own book. Did somebody not proofread your book? Come on, you're an alien hybrid. You should know how to spell and use punctuation properly. All right, she has been a fully qualified carpenter and house builder. She's as comfortable with a pneumatic drill breaking concrete as she is with a a pen or artist brush. A hybrid story is an in-depth, honest account of her lifetime of contacts with these beings and her many paranormal experiences with those in the spirit world. So again, she's not just hanging out with aliens, she's hanging out with ghosts and demons and all kinds of stuff, right? Gotta have a big tent. Learn about her struggles to live a normal life while gradually learning from and appreciating the beautiful visions from her higher self and divine consciousness. She has a deep knowledge of her many past lives. Oh, God, she's got past lives too. And her ability to open her mind to downloads of incredible information concerning astrophysics may one day revolutionize our understanding of our place in the universe. Well, I would submit to her that I'll put her in a room with an astrophysicist and we'll have him evaluate what her knowledge of astrophysics is. And I'm pretty sure I can guarantee you that she's not going to have even a college freshman's level of knowledge, right? But hey, we're talking to aliens, so we've got advanced knowledge. That's part of the grift. You always have to have advanced knowledge so people will buy your crap, because people want advanced knowledge, right? Or people want to know what those aliens really know about the world and the universe and consciousness and spirituality and technology and time and our place in the universe. So you gotta say that you have insider information from the aliens. Kate has acquired the deepest understanding that everything in creation is connected. We are all one. Be the one you are meant to be. Wow, how inspiring. And this book, by the way, is $28. And I'm sorry, but $28 for a book full of bullshit is a little much for me. You know, this should be one of those like $3 books or in the dollar discount bin. You know, you're stuck on a plane and you're bored. Let's hear this crazy woman's story, right? That's my opinion. This is a $2 book. This is not a $28 book. A $28 book should include some evidence of the claims made and not read like a rag or a woman praising herself for being so beautiful. Like the arrogance of this woman, like Kate is an extremely beautiful woman. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to start each show with a new affirmation. I'm going to say, Stephen Cambion is an incredibly handsome and powerful man. And then we'll move on with the show, right? I'll just say that about myself. Maybe I need a little ego pick-me-up or something every show. Anyway, I think this is ridiculous. And equally ridiculous is the fact that Linda Moulton Howe, freshly after getting caught selling not one but two provably fake stories with not one but two provably fake pictures of aliens that turned out to be, one was a video game cover for the game Area 51, PlayStation 1 game, I think, and the other one turned out to be artwork that we tracked down, made by a Portuguese artist for a fictional web series. She turned that into, there's this whole story and there's these orange grays, they're orange under their bodysuits, and boy, what a great story. Total bull, but what a great story, right? Too bad it was all based on fake evidence sent to her. She she didn't vet it. She didn't do a reverse Google image search. She was completely either intentionally dishonest with her audience and lied to everyone. By the way, the videos where she made all that money are still on YouTube, and she's still collecting money, ad revenue, for a completely 100% provably fake story with provably fake so-called evidence. It's against YouTube terms of service. She could lose her whole YouTube channel for doing that. But somehow she's still allowed, and she can still collect money every month from a 100% provably fake story. And what does she do right after that? She gets with this girl who magnets stick to. And she says this is proof of alien hybrids and alien implants and alien abductions. I mean, I guess at least the quality of her so-called evidence may be improved, because we went from a totally fake picture to now I have to somehow prove that this woman who magnets stick to is full of crap, right? I mean, how do I prove that? Well, I have some ideas, and one of them is to, and I'm not going to do it tonight, but I have developed 4 or 5 methods, different methods where I can have the exact same effect and have magnets stick to me. I'm not prepared to do it tonight, but I'll see if I can't show you. I have these neodymium magnets, and I've developed, and you know what? I don't even know that I'll make a video. It'd be enough to just explain. There are very, very simple methods to getting a neodymium magnet to stick to you anywhere on your body. The first is to use a very, very tiny, tiny bit of adhesive on the back of one of the magnets. Sounds stupid, right? But I wouldn't put it past these UFO grifters. So I would challenge this woman to do the magnet trick with me, a former professional magician, giving her the magnets, observing this so-called proof that she's claiming. And I guarantee you she will not submit to the sort of laboratory conditions that I would subject her to, which is I would bring the magnets. I would clean the magnets. I would prepare the magnets. I would inspect her hands and make sure that there is nothing sticky, nothing adhesive on any of her fingers, hands, whatever. Or if she allowed me to, I would handle the magnets and stick them in the places that she is saying. Another method, which is stupid, even stupider than a little bit of adhesive, is to spit on it. You can try this yourself. Get yourself one of these little neodymium magnets, spit on it, just lick it, stick it to your body. It'll stick for a certain period of time. And I've developed several more methods that would work. A more gruesome method, but that would pass further scrutiny, would be to take push pins. You know those push pins that seamstresses use? Just straight push pins. Cut the push pin in a quarter and just take the pointy end of it and put it through your skin. Some of you may remember children in school that would put like a safety pin through the fleshy part of the skin on their finger or something like that. It's not very difficult to embed something that will be attracted to magnets in your skin, and on a cursory examination, it would be completely undetectable. My point with this entire rant is that if this woman is claiming that this is her proof of aliens, it's so easy to replicate this effect. It's a bad magic trick. Linda Moulton Howe has now resorted to using women that are doing bad magic tricks for people. But we'll get into the video and see if we can shed some more light on this strange case of an alien hybrid who magnets stick to. But first, before we get into that, let me put up my fair use banner, remind you all that this is a transformative work. We're educating the public and we're critiquing the video that we're sharing. After all, this woman's claiming to be an alien hybrid, and if that were true, that would be certainly newsworthy, worthy of commentary, coverage, and critique. So we will be doing that with the video we're sharing. This is covered under fair use and is allowable by law. And lawyer letters are standing by. Occasionally, when we play a video from one of these UFO grifters, they don't like it, and they falsely copyright claim. But we've got excellent lawyer letters standing by, and I have won every single one of the false copyright claims placed against us, in which case the strike, if they strike, reverts to the person who falsely claimed that. I will defend vigorously our right to play these videos and talk about them, considering the claims that are being made are pretty earth-changing, right? 1 second here. Let me get this queued up. One second. I love too. She's using pictures from fictional movies in this video, and please pardon me. I was fully prepared for this. I apologize. Okay, got it queued up. Let's get into it, friends. We're going to see Linda Moulton Howe's proof of an alien hybrid, proof of alien contact. And this video is from November 23rd, titled, Why Do Neodymium Magnets Stick to Some UFO Abductee Bodies? And again, I would suggest that these people have to do this trick under conditions of a magician watching them. And if they can do that, I'll apologize and I'll pay for further scientific testing to determine the validity of their claims. But I won't hold my breath. All right, let's get into it, friends. All right, here we go. I have this more or less queued up. You'll have to excuse me. We're skipping this whole first part. The first 13 minutes, she talks about Sid Goldberg, who works for Gaia TV. We all know how I feel about Gaia TV. They literally had idiots digging up dead people and gluing them back together to create fake alien mummies to sell fake stories. I try to just fast forward past anybody that's talking about Gaia as a credible information source. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to evaluate the first claims because they're equally as ridiculous. But tonight we'll be concentrating on this Kate alien hybrid.
And why are 3 neodymium magnets sticking to this woman's nose and left temple? Kate Thorvaldsen is 53 years old, was born in Norway in 1969, and now is a published author based in Lunde, Norway, 72 miles southwest of Oslo. Her most recent published biography, left temple. Kate Thorvaldsen is 53 years old, was born in Norway in 1969, and now is a published author based in Lunde, Norway, 72 miles southwest of Oslo. Her most recent published biography, available at Amazon.com,
I got it. Sorry about that. Do you see how this works? This is tit for tat. We see the book pitch. We want to be sure to tell everybody where to buy her book. That's what she gets for participating in this farce, in this delusional fantasy land of LARPers. We get Linda Moulton Howe gets a story to sell and gets to keep all the monetized video ad revenue. And Kate Thorvaldsen gets a book plug because Linda Moulton Howe has a huge bullhorn, and certainly a lot of the new age sort of believer crowd will be interested after hearing this incredible proof in buying Kate's book. And you hear Linda Moulton Howe, it's very deceptive. Oh, a recent biography about her that she wrote herself. I don't get it. I don't get it, but here we are.
Is a hybrids story released in March of 2019. One night at age 3 in 1972,
I love the
Kate
illustrations.
vividly remembers the gray-skinned being with big black eyes that suddenly showed up next to her crib. In her illustration, she drew a craft with another being in it outside the bedroom window. The being next to her crib was silent, but Kate remembers thoughts and feelings coming into her young 3-year-old mind. She thought he was checking to make sure that she was okay. And over the past 50 years, since that 3-year-old encounter, Kate has continued to have interactions with other intelligences. Sid Goldberg suggested Kate get strong neodymium magnets with a 9-kilogram weight pull to find out if they would stick to her skin like Natalie's arm magnet did, and in what pattern.
Yeah, and so who told her to check herself with magnets? The guy from Gaia TV. Great. So a guy from Gaia TV who was recently selling stories about alien mummies that turned out to be dead people glued together is going to help Linda Moulton Howe push this cart of garbage up the hill.
Here, 5 neodymium magnets stuck above implants embedded in Kate's upper chest in a very smooth curved pattern of equally spaced magnets. In other words,
besides, I wanted to mention the evidence is so scant here, and during the interview, she sticks something to her nose, which, by the way, being a stage magician, you know, you could put a nail up your nose and magnets will stick to your nose all day long. And yes, I could do that, but I'd rather not. But here in Linda Moulton Howe's so-called evidence, you know, she's presenting this important evidence. We get a picture of her with magnets stuck to her. For all we know, this could have been photoshopped, but I can think of multiple methods. She could have used little circles of double-sided tape on the back of the magnets, stuck them on, take the picture, take them off. She could have used adhesive of one type or another. And by the way, this is how ridiculous and disgusting my life has become. I spent some bit of time this week experimenting with different forms of adhesive to find which adhesive would do this magic trick best. And maybe I will do it for you guys, but not tonight.
The magnets are only where they are because an implant is directly under the magnet. If you move the magnet a tiny degree, they will just fall. They are in this pattern because of the implants that are under the skin and in the tissue.
And again, there's no proof that there's actually implants under this woman's skin, except Linda Moulton Howe telling you. And you notice how Linda Moulton Howe goes right to the alien implants? She doesn't even consider the possibility of, I don't know, glue, adhesive, double-sided tape, or someone deceiving her. She just takes this woman's as absolutely, oh yeah, you've definitely got alien implants, honey. Sure.
Here is Kate showing a sketch on her right of the magnet distribution on her whole body at the UFO Congress this past September in Barcelona, Spain.
And who else was there? Oh, Marina Sarin was at that conference. You know, the Nazi girl who claims to also be an alien hybrid, who would not submit to genetic testing when I prompted her, who would not prove her superpowers are real when I asked her to. Yeah. So you got a conference full of nutters, you know, and somehow this is supposed to be proof for these people. Well, I spoke at a conference, so it must be true.
That's where I first saw Kate's x-ray of 3 magnets in her right shoulder that marked the location of 3 mysterious implants below her skin.
Yeah, and this is unclear. Did they take the X-ray with the magnets on or with the magnets off? And why can't we see what's under the circular magnets, which she is showing? This makes no sense. Wouldn't you want to see an X-ray of the actual alien implant? Wouldn't that be a little more important than seeing a picture of somebody getting an X-ray with circular magnets glued to them?
Here I have these tiny little neodymium magnets. They are quite strong. They are not any magnets that you put on the fridge. They can actually hold 9 kilos.
And by the way, this is a lie right off the bat. While ceramic or bar magnets are much more common because they're much cheaper to be used on refrigerator affixtions, I have a sort of calendar board that has one neodymium magnet on the back of each corner, and that's what keeps it on the refrigerator. So right off the bat, she's trying to prove to you, well, these aren't just regular refrigerator magnets. Nobody would use these on a refrigerator. I have one. You may have one. You may have something, some sort of refrigerator magnet that is neodymium in nature. They either use a pretty much larger size ceramic magnet because they're cheaper, or they use a very, very tiny neodymium magnet. For her to make that statement shows that she's trying to sell us a story here. Couldn't be, these aren't regular magnets. Yeah, they are. They're a certain kind of magnets, but they're still just magnets.
After what I've told. So my friend Sid Goldberg, he said that buy those magnets and stick them on the places where you think that you perhaps can have implants. And of course, normally when you're testing it, it's important that your skin is clean, not too warm, not too cold, as neutral as possible. Then
yeah, and that would also be the case if you were using some way to affix the magnets artificially, such as glue or tape or whatever. If your skin was sweaty or wet, it would not adhere.
You stick them on to see if, of course, sometimes you can really look carefully, because if they are even a ½ centimeter off the point, they will fall off. But my nose is the strongest point, so it will not fall off.
Wow.
And medically, they have not found an explanation for why that should stick on the bridge of your nose.
No.
And I would submit to you that she should submit to an independent doctor. Are we supposed to just take her word for it? No, my doctor said it's got to be alien implants. It's ridiculous.
So if I do it on the other side, it will be the same thing.
And if you come down further, how will it stick all along your nose? Until only a very specific part.
And that magic trick can be easily accomplished by having, I did some testing. I told you I am a very sad man because I spent some time at a workbench with magnets with double-sided tape, glue, and spit on them, trying to recreate this, and was able to. And this trick of like, look, if I don't put it right where the alien implant is, it falls right down. You just flip the magnet. You have adhesive or tape on one side of it. When you show it affixes, it affixes because you're putting it sticky side down to your nose. To show it falls right off, you just flip the magnet. Now, I haven't analyzed this video. I may do that to show if she does that, but you know, this is a stupid parlor trick. You know, I as a magician would be embarrassed to do this trick. It's not even a good trick, in my opinion.
Of the bridge of your nose.
Yeah.
Now, what else? Cheeks, forehead?
I have 2 here.
Can you show?
No, it's too much makeup. They will not stick. So, but the nose is.
Oh, sorry. I have too much makeup on. They won't stick. Come on. You've got an alien metal implant embedded in your skull, and a super powerful magnet won't stick through, what, 1/8 of an inch of skin and a micrometer of an inch of cosmetics? This is a garbage excuse. She's only prepared to do a very simple, basic demonstration of this so-called paranormal effect of magnets sticking to her. She's not going to show us the stuff like in the pictures, right?
The best area to stick them. But on the picture, you can see I have here.
Yeah, go look at the picture where I could do it completely unobserved?
Here on my nose, 2 here, 5 in the front, and all the way down my spine, and also a few areas in the front.
And you discovered all of those places by yourself, or did somebody just put them?
Yeah, and these X-rays, they're not even clearly an X-ray from her. So I would like to see the original X-rays. And why would you just affix magnets to yourself? Is this supposed to be the implants, circles, or is this supposed to be the magnets? It's very unclear. And but muddying the waters, you're just trying to be just convincing enough to sell the story.
Them all over you?
No, I had some help from a friend, so we were going on a little research party. As long as we bothered actually to do it.
And does the X-ray that was taken medically match all of those spots that you have had them stick?
So far, yes.
And what was just any reaction from a medical person looking at your X-ray?
They were just, wow. But of course, they will not put their name on it. So they are just
so she has no names, right?
What are they afraid of?
They don't want to have their education and their name put together with the UFO. I'm not sure if the magnets, if the implants are also there to help me out.
Thank you, UFO John
physical
Doe.
Condition, because in my family it runs with a super high blood pressure. You're talking about 200, above 120.
Oh my gosh!
This type, and my mother, she has a severe heart problem.
Okay, so we want to take the time to thank UFO John Doe for a kind and generous $4.99, and for also being a channel member. By the way, channel members, I uploaded 2 videos between last night at 3 a.m. and today, shortly before dinner time, I suppose, 6 p.m. or so. So there was an hour and a half, I think, an hour and 45 minutes of bonus content for you kind and generous channel members and Patreon supporters. It's either on Patreon or in the channel, in the members section of our channel here in the community section. And we want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, super chatters. There's instructions to help us through in the description of the video. UFO John Doe, who's also a channel member, thank you, says, I'm an alien hybrid. I'm from SETI Alpha 5. I can drink a beer in one guzzle and make beer bottles stick to the wall. Linda, please reach out to me. Be careful. You're going to be her next story, right?
Problems, and a lot of her brothers, sisters, and uncles, and so on, they have died just passing 50. I'm not using any kind of medicine or anything. I also have 3 implants as a triangle under my heart area. They also had a connection with a guy that was a chiropractor, and he also had this X-ray machine in the back room. And of course, no one of this kind of people or doctors, they want to have their name associated with implants or aliens.
Yeah, isn't that convenient that not a single doctor will go on the record and say that they examined her X-rays, and confirm what she is selling here? That's why I say, let me have my doctor look at it and tell us if there's something anomalous here, or are these photoshopped X-rays, false images, and I get it. Some people are like, well, you can't prove that, Stephen. Well, based on Linda Moulton Howe's past record of using 100% fake so-called evidence, anything that she presents as so-called evidence, we should be extremely suspect of, and we should rigorously demand that this is real and valid evidence and not manufactured garbage, so she can continue to make money selling alien stories to stupid people.
So they were sneaking me into the office from the back door, and they were not even putting me in the records. But they.
So she didn't even go to a real doctor. She went to some shady chiropractor. No offense, I don't equate a doctor and a chiropractor with being the same thing, though some do. Your opinion, you're welcome to your opinion.
Took the pictures.
But do you still have any sense, now you've gone through all of this, yet at an intuitive level, why are the Greys doing this?
For me, I think that they have been helping me up in one way or another to do the astrophysics, cosmology these kind of things. I have no education at all on this topic, but I'm working on a brand new book on it.
Here comes another book pitch. Buy my next book. And I always come back to this problem of logic with some of these people. Like, does it sound logical that an advanced extraterrestrial race would put a bunch of some alien technology implants in this woman to help her with astrophysics? None of this makes any sense. Plot holes galore. I think this woman watched too much Star Wars or Star Trek or something.
It's called The Creation, where physics and the consciousness meet.
And could you help us understand, because I too have written a lot about that the key to the whole universe is frequency and frequency resonance. I'm convinced that that is the key.
Now we get to the woo. This is the real woo now.
In your own experience doing this book.
Here comes the word salad. I haven't watched this whole thing, but I'm predicting some word salad here.
What is it that you're going to try to share with the human family?
It's more like how we are, how everything is connected, how the so-called physics or the so-called physical and the consciousness work together, and then there's nothing. The one thing can't be without the other. And when it comes to explaining this stuff in
good point,
English, it's very difficult, because it's very difficult even to explain this stuff in Norwegian. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is so new and so different that some people, when they ask me, can you explain this simple part or that simple part, then I can't, because you have to understand with the beginning and then do the whole process before you can get to the point you actually will understand the other things.
Are you
Yeah, so she asks her what she's going to be teaching humanity from her amazing alien downloads and revelations. And basically she says, well, essentially everything in the universe is connected. Okay. And then she makes excuses for why she can't explain any of these groundbreaking astrophysics breakthroughs that she's going to have in her new book. No, that's called holding your cards close to your chest, because you're bluffing. In my opinion, she's bluffing here. She's got nothing.
Dealing with reincarnation?
Not in this topic here, but it's a natural thing. That it's a thing that can be naturally explained into this whole area.
And how would you explain to, say, a general audience what perspective you have now on the relationship of reincarnation, the recycling of souls, to you as a human, but to the Greys that have been interacting with you? Why are they doing this?
The thing is that our consciousness that is working through this body or your body or everyone else's body, we're all linked together at the same particle level, if I shall use that kind of expression just to try to make the image. And the aliens, or doesn't matter what kind of a life form, we are all stuck to the same field.
I agree, Chuck Bam.
The visible one that we are seeing.
So who is benefiting from studying the links of frequencies among humans?
Good point.
I think that this is something everyone should know, because the more everyone know about themselves and what they're coming from and who they are in the basics, and that when we die, it's just a physical part of us that dies, and we come back again, and we are internal. So then I think that humanity will look differently at ourselves.
Again, these new age grifters are always selling stuff that people want to hear. You know, maybe you're getting a little older, you're worried about death and the afterlife. Oh, don't worry. Only your physical form dies, and then you get to come back. It's nicely crafted hopium, right? I always love that they always push the reincarnation. We're all connected. All of these different things to get an audience, right? You gotta give them what they want, and what people want is comfort. So much like a Catholic or Christian minister or priest selling people near the end of their lives comfort, these UFO consciousness, alien hybrid, whatever, grifters are always selling that. That's always part of the thing, right? Or they're selling ascension. We're all going to ascend. Lovely sentiment. but no proof of any of this.
The more they understand.
Do you feel in 2022 September that there is a threat to Earth?
No, I don't think so. I think that the biggest threat perhaps must be ourselves.
Self-destruction.
Yeah.
Well, okay, flip the coin around. Have you had...
What about the threat of aliens abducting you and sticking metal implants all over your body without your consent? Wouldn't that be, I would consider that kind of a threat.
Had any dream or any kind of image in your mind's eye that would relate to beings or another intelligence trying to show you, if humans don't do this, this is what's going to happen? Have you had any warnings like that?
Not that I can remember, actually. They have been teaching me perhaps in a more different way instead of we are all the time looking outside to find the answers.
I don't know where. This is the same place that Linda did that other interview where there was like beeping and car noise through the whole interview. Really professional production here.
What we are, the answer are in ourselves. And if you want to know how the future will go for, let's say, the humanity, you can just start looking at the common brainwave of the society. And one thing is one brainwave for what we are creating, one person, but when a bigger society, that kind of brain pattern or that pattern will become quite strong and big. And now this pattern is more or less globalized. So that it's even more stronger.
Well, right now, I think that most people would say it feels like the timeline of Earth has been chopped up and turned into confetti. There is just so much strife, stress, conflict.
I agree, Patty.
A lot of people say they've never known life on Earth like this before. Would you have any sense of why this moment feels
an alien
so
hybrid
treacherous in a strange way, and what could be coming after?
Well, the thing is that there's a much bigger picture to all of this. If you look at the old history of Earth.
Here again, people are struggling and looking for answers. And did you ever notice that when these people, these UFO grifters are interviewed that are supposed to have some sort of alien knowledge or knowledge from other species in the universe, they never say, I don't know. They know everything. No matter what question you ask them, they'll bluff their way through it. And here, everybody is struggling, and we get some stupid message of hope from an alien insider. It's designed to give people comfort, to make people feel good, instead of being depressed, lonely, anxiety-ridden, as many people are in today's hectic world.
When the world is getting warmer and cooler and goes in like waves like this, and the same thing is with humanity and their wars and how aggressive they are. The warmer the Earth is getting, the more aggressive we get. So it will go up and cool down. But the only problem with humanity is that we have nuclear bombs and we have a little bit too many weapons to destroy ourselves a little bit too many times. So that makes it even more critical than, let's say, for 2,000 years ago when we were running around with an axe or something like that. It didn't have the same impact on the world as we can do now.
I've had various sources say extraterrestrial biological
these are fake documents, by the way.
Entities manipulated DNA in already evolving primates to create Homo sapien. That would mean that our creation is an extraterrestrial exercise or test.
And here I was just talking to a friend today about Richard Doty. Richard Doty is the person who leaked Linda Moulton Howe fake documents that tell the story of extraterrestrial biological entities tampering with our DNA in already evolving primates. And I promise you, my eyes are closed. Already evolving primates to create Homo sapien. And she normally says Homo sapien sapien. And, while I would love to believe that, and it would explain it would explain a lot of things and answer a lot of unanswered questions about evolution, because there does appear to be some massive jump in brain capacity and other things. in a timeline that is sort of perplexing, right? Like, how did that happen so quickly? That can usually be explained by meat. And if you do the adequate research, the jump in cranial capacity, most credible scientists attribute to human hunter-gatherers, early pre-human hunter-gatherers, I should say, changing to evolving to eating meat, a lot more meat. We as carnivores started getting bigger brained and much more intelligent. But to stupid people, they need an alien explanation to explain something that is probably, to most scientists, scientifically provable as an explanation.
When I say those words to you, what comes to mind for you?
I think that we can absolutely be an alien ourselves here on Earth, but we are also evolving all the time. There's nothing that stands still. So we are evolving, aliens are evolving, plants, everything is evolving. So
why do you think that the power brokers of the planet centuries ago and now currently the Department of Defense, why have they never ever told humanity the truth? You are a genetic creation from extraterrestrial beings in this universe.
Well, it's quite easy actually. Then they will lose the power. If every person knew what kind of power they actually have.
This is a pretty old explanation, but yeah, it's interesting. Maybe they're not telling us that because there's zero scientific evidence of that, and that every evolutionary biologist would disagree with the hypothesis that aliens tinkered with early hominid DNA to create humans. Maybe they're not telling us that because it's simply not true, not because there's some grand conspiracy to cover it up.
While creating stuff from their own brain, from their own brain waves and etc. If they seriously knew that, how powerful they are, the church or the governments or everyone else, they will lose the power over them.
I agree.
Right now, we are more like zombies under every commercial or everything we have been taught in life.
And your own experiences, the magnets, the being aware that something else is interacting, but you don't have answers.
No.
And yet in 2022, you've lived at least half a century approximately. And could you speak to the general family of humanity about where you see things going from here?
Yeah, fake documents cut and pasted.
So many people feel that it's the end of the world time.
The first thing you can do is to figure out who you are. That's the most important, because if you don't know who you are, then you will never know your power. Then you just follow the rest of the crowds and you can't change nothing.
But so see, that's part of the abuse of power brokers for millennia, refusing to let the whole family of humanity know the truth that they know, that we are a genetically created species that is experimented with by extraterrestrial biological entities, that is the truth.
So she's not asking her what the truth is. She's telling her, no, really. And, you know, this is a very old idea that's been around for ages, decades, since the early 70s, at least, with some of this ancient astronaut theory. And a lot of that comes from translations that were wrongly made from Sumerian tablets by one Zechariah Sitchin. He had no schooling, education, experience, or knowledge in the Sumerian language, but we're supposed to believe that he translated these ancient Sumerian tablets, and he translated them wrong, and essentially told this incredible story of aliens coming here and creating a race, the race of human beings, because they needed slave labor. And later this gets modified by, this idea gets taken, modified, changed, adapted, and expanded upon by other people in the so-called UFO community, like Richard Doty. It doesn't make it true.
And so now in 2022, 8 billion people on planet Earth are denied that fact. It is still not an official policy. Yes, now we're going to tell you the truth.
Because it's not the truth, Linda. Look at science. Talk to an evolutionary biologist. Talk to an anthropologist and ask them what evidence or proof there is of your hypothesis. There is none. Talk to a geneticist.
And it seems to me that the impact of that kind of denial of information by power brokers is a serious abuse.
Let's say that the people with the power told the people that, okay, you have the power. The problem would be that the most people, they will not understand it. It takes a long, long time to integrate the understanding of your own power.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting that in order to live in Linda Moulton Howe's delusional fairy tale fantasy land, you have to literally ignore science. You have to ignore every expert on evolutionary biology, every anthropologist, every archaeologist. All of these people are wrong about the origins of the human species. But you know who's right? Linda Moulton Howe, the lady that gets caught selling fake alien pictures to make a lot of money scamming people. She's right. She's got the secret of the humanity's origin, and all these people are conspiring. Hundreds of thousands of scientists all across the globe are conspiring to keep that evidence away from us and to keep the truth of the human species and the true origins of the humans from us. It's when I think of this and the fact that what you have to do to live in this delusional fantasy land. You know, I talked about logic earlier and how none of this makes any logical sense. And here again, just thinking critically for a moment, what is the likelihood that there's hundreds of thousands of scientists, archaeologists, history professors, anthropologists, geneticists, all over planet Earth, and they all know that Linda Moulton Howe's telling the truth. So they've got to actively work with governments and scientific agencies and colleges and universities to cover up the truth. This is fantasy land. We're living. Some people in UFO land are in a self-imposed delusional fantasy land, and they're kept there by their own blinders, but by their own lack of critical thinking and logic. You know, just work out the logic. Does it make sense that hundreds of thousands of scientists could all be working together in tandem? All of them, every expert on Earth has to be agreeing to some grand conspiracy to keep this alien truth from us. It makes no sense, especially. And by the way, I want to freely admit to something. Early on, when I was a child, teenager maybe, I read all of this Zecharia Sitchin and Chariots of the Gods, and I was all chips in. I thought it explained a lot of things, and that's why this works. We all have questions nobody can answer. Like, where did we come from? Who put us here? And if religion and spirituality is insufficient to explain these things to you, perhaps scientific intervention by advanced extraterrestrial beings is more to your mindset. So for a time, I truly believed some of this stuff. I believed that Zecharia Sitchin correctly translated those tablets. Only years later would I find out that he was way off, completely off, totally off, not even close. And again, this ancient astronaut theory gave me comfort. It answered all those unanswered questions. Now everything, it makes sense now. We came from extraterrestrial beings. They tinkered with our DNA. That also explains why there is evolutionary jumps that are hard to explain through standard or traditional science, history, anthropology, and more. But once you actually dig into these things, it all falls apart like a terribly constructed, shaky house of cards that it is. It's built on legends and the confirmation bias of people accepting this as truth. And I'm sorry, but the other thing that really did it for me was first taking a college class in anthropology and then getting to talk to an anthropology professor. And I, at that point, was probably more than half convinced that there was nothing to this theory, but I still wanted to ask the expert that I had access to. And he assured me that there is no scientific proof, evidence, genetically, archaeologically, anthropologically, there is no evidence of genetic tampering with the human genome. Now, are there anomalies? Sure. Is there junk DNA and a bunch of stuff they don't yet understand? Sure. But to go straight to, it must have been aliens, is a bridge too far. And if you actually dig into this from a critical thinking standpoint, again, I doubt that hundreds of thousands of scientists and archaeologists and everybody else is just keeping this from us, right? It would be the biggest secret in human history. And do we really think that every single person in the scientific community would keep the secret from the rest of us dummies? I don't think so.
It's like if someone has told you your entire life that, oh, say, let's you're ugly or you are stupid, you will not change that belief just because someone tells you that you are looking good or you are smart. It takes a long time to change it. But the only one who can change it is you. But you have to be awake and start the process to find out who you are and then get the power, and then you can change things.
Yeah, beyond human power brokers, who else in your experience, even if it has been only at night in a dream, who do you think could be benefiting
Talk
from
about
the
a leading
ignorance of
question.
planet Earth?
I think that is a typical human thing.
For us to always operate in ignorance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think there are beings out there that take advantage of that.
Can be, yes.
Oh, that's weird.
Kate called her 2019 book
Bad edited.
A Hybrid Story because she considers herself to be a genetic hybrid of the blonde, blue-eyed Nordics and Homo sapien. And I want to share with
Yeah, and isn't it, it's just a coincidence? She considers herself to be, but she has no proof of that. And she's making money just because she considers herself to be an alien hybrid. Great. Look, my new book is coming out next month, and I'm just going to consider myself to be an alien hybrid. I'm going to put a bunch of bull stories in there. And yeah, I'm going to do the Cosmic Con Shuffle and make a lot of money because I consider myself to be. Complaisir with a kind and generous, what is that, 150 euro? Stephen Bruddy, me feel so proud. You and your channel finally aligned a special chat crowd, many of them at other chats and other shows within the last 2 years, but now just realness searching. Ones finally connect over here along you and your chat for a reason. Truth Seekers for life. Good to see you, Complaisir. Kind and generous benefactor. So generous of you. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for being a channel member as well. Very kind of you. And we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And boy, that's very generous. And we are praising the cash today. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We'll have, I'm looking for this here. We'll have Trixie. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thank you, Complaisir.
This is Trixie from Truthseekers. Thanking you for your generosity. I'm gonna praise the cash so hard. I'm gonna end up opening up a stargate to a whole different dimension of wealth.
Thank you very much for your kindness, generosity, and support. Very, very kind of you. So we're wrapping things up. Linda's doing her wrap up for why this woman is important. She's not.
with you all a message that I recently received from a retired aerospace engineer. This is a brand new piece of information.
Another retired aerospace engineer. By the way, some of you may recall that the fake alien picture story that she was hawking came to her from a retired aerospace engineer. But when you know it, as soon as that story fell apart and she made all the money and ran off with it and didn't give any of it back, even though she frauded the general public with fake alien pictures to make that money, we get a new source, a retired aerospace engineer who is sending Linda Moulton Howe some very important new information. And here we have, again, a retired aerospace engineer as a source, but an anonymous source, of course.
Who says he once worked side by side with a Nordic and side by side with a tall white from other solar systems in our region of the Milky Way galaxy.
A new anonymous source, an aerospace insider anonymous source, says that he worked with them aliens. Trust me, dude. What's his name? Can we vet where he worked? Can we tell if he's a real person or only exists in your imagination? I really think, and I'm entitled to my opinion and speculation, and will freely admit that this is opinion and speculation. I think she just makes up sources and makes up fake stories at this point. The last aerospace retired engineer that she had as a source was sending her fake pictures of aliens that she was hawking as real alien pictures. Is it the same fake source or is this a new fake source? And come on, Linda, you got to work harder at this fake source anonymous stuff. You should say this guy is retired military or retired Navy SEAL or retired Area 51 black budget project worker or something. You went right back to the retired aerospace engineer after the last retired aerospace engineer that you had a source burnt you with fake alien pictures. Awesome. And this guy's working for aliens. What's the evidence of this? Trust me, my retired aerospace engineer source told me that he's working for those aliens.
That I show here in my evolving star map. Quote, it comes down to the human race on Earth being somewhat protected by two groups that want to see us make it and join our celestial neighborhood. It's really that straightforward.
Yeah, so here we get the alien fairy tales. I love the alien fairy tales. She's got insider sources. He's a retired aerospace engineer, and he knows the truth about those aliens, what they're doing here, what they want for humanity. And what is the evidence or proof of any of this? Well, her retired aerospace engineer source that nobody's allowed to see, talk to, interview, or vet told her that this is true. So it must be, right? This is Linda Moulton Howe's Trust Me school of selling fake alien stories. And it's absolutely ridiculous that this woman is legally allowed to do this. Come on, Linda.
We, us Earth humans, are a product of a genetic experiment that was set up here on Earth approximately 278 million years ago. We are truly a blended bunch. We put blended in quotes because we humans are the ET offspring of sorts. The Scandinavian-looking Nordics do most of the policing.
You notice how she never has a real picture of aliens, and when she says she does, they turn out to be a fake picture of aliens. And who does she get to draw this stuff? Nordic illustration by Arowana. Tall white illustration by Anonymous. By the way, the tall white alien myth was created by a man named Charles Hall, who pretended that he was in the Air Force. We vetted his claims, and it turns out that man who invented all of the mythology surrounding the so-called tall white aliens turns out to be a fraud and a stolen valor thief. He was never in the Air Force, though he claimed to be. And every time that you hear someone mention tall white aliens, just remember Stephen Cambion busted that story. The guy who invented all the stories of the tall white aliens originally, a man named Charles Hall, is a stolen valor, 100% provable fraud who was never in the Air Force, though all of the tall white alien stories that he told and sold started with when I was in the Air Force. So we went to the National Personnel Records Center. And what we found out was he was never in the Air Force. And this is how the mythology takes hold. People just accept it. That guy was in the Air Force. He must be telling the truth. No, he wasn't. And every time that you hear any idiot like Linda Moulton Howe or Corey Good or David Wilcock or hundreds of other UFO grifters start telling you stories about tall white aliens, all of the tall white alien mythology came from a 100% proven fraud. So are we just repeating one fake story told by one fake person, and now we have another fake story told by another fake person? This is childish and laughable.
And are more of a military type group, while our other working group, the tall whites, are much more hands-on, technically speaking. The Nordics work much more closely with JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command.
And by the way, the Nordic aliens is what many of these UFO grifter ladies try to emulate. You know, blonde hair, blue eyes, gorgeous, right?
To keep everyone involved knowing about the movements of a danger, the hostile trontoloid insects from Epsilon Eridani that I have done reports about at Earth Files before. The Nordics understand and try to control the time manipulations that the trontoloid advanced technology can manipulate and create different time frames.
Again, this is alien story time. We've got the Nordic aliens, we've got the tall white aliens. Oh, there's this insectoid race that can manipulate timelines, and the Nordics are trying to stop them. This is a bad episode of Babylon 5, right? And what is the evidence or proof? Trust me, dude. I have a source that told me this. You can't talk to them. You can't even find out if they're a real, actual existing person or if I'm just making all this up. But trust me.
Which is why I referred to time chopped up into confetti in my interview with Kate. The Nordics provide a type of security over our deep space exploration and travel. And it is the tall whites that help us with the technology it takes to achieve the goals of deep space exploration. Both groups, Nordics and tall whites, are always on all three U.S. Space Force deep quantum tunneling starships at all times. And
the U.S. has deep space quantum tunneling spaceships. Well, there's one I haven't heard before, Linda. What's your source for the fact that you're claiming that the United States has deep space tunneling quantum spaceships? Is there actual proof or evidence of this, or is this just alien story time again? It's alien story time, friends. I wish I had a bumper of like the Land of Make Believe to play. But did you know I tried to use Mr. Rogers' Land of Make Believe and I got a copyright strike? You can't use Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers would be upset. He would be happy that I'm educating the public using something much like he pioneered with early television to educate people. But anyway, I wish I had a bumper for the Land of Make Believe, because when you listen to Linda Moulton Howe, you have entered the land of make believe, and that's where we're at, and that's where we find ourselves. It gets worse from here, friends. But if you do want to check out Linda Moulton Howe's remaining alien story time, I welcome you to do so if you want to laugh. But it's not just the laugh that I get. I become sad when I look at the views that this woman gets selling fairy tale alien stories with no evidence, no proof. Oh, wait a minute. This broadcast, she had a woman that could do a magic trick of sticking magnets to herself. And maybe I will do a video, but I'm not going to do a whole 2-hour show on it. I'll do a short video displaying how that magic trick can easily be accomplished by anybody who would like to. We're going to check out here. I have had enough of alien story time for one evening. Now we have a bit more business to take care of here. Let me let me see. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Tonight, we are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, and Odyssey. And we welcome all our new friends on those new platforms and welcome back our Twitch friends, some of which I remember seeing before in the Twitch live chat. And they've come back now that we have increased our distribution recently. Happy to see some people back. Happy to see so many new friends out there in the land of the interwebs, watching us on various different platforms. I also want to thank all of those listening to our audio podcast. You people listening on Apple Podcasts or on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, or Geo Savan. We love and appreciate you, but now is a good time for me to remind you that if you're listening to this audio podcast, we love and appreciate you, but you're missing half the fun. So please do go on over to YouTube and hit that little search bar, the magnifying glass. Put in there Truthseekers, one word. You'll see me, Stephen Canby, and a strange guy with sunglasses pop up. Go to that channel, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you too will know when we're doing a live taping for the show. We would love to have you here in our interactive live chat. We've got some time left, so I will be taking questions and comments from the live chat. We encourage you, though. Some of you know that I'm visually impaired, so please do put your questions or comments you want me to share on the screen in all capital letters. But before we do that, the other thing that I would like to remind everyone is we don't do alien story time here. We critically think about these strange and esoteric subjects, and we investigate things, and we usually provide evidence for the stories that we present. I know that is a foreign concept to some people, and some people just want alien story time. If that's what you like, Linda Moulton Howe is probably for you. And by the way, I love the snarky ones. I've had a great, and I have a hello, say hi to your live chat from Sheila Aliens, former guest. And she is watching live now. Good to see Sheila Aliens out there. We want to have her come back and share more of her interesting AI artwork and other things. So I'm supposed to remind you how you can support our show here, and we love and appreciate every single one of you. I do want to take the time to remind everybody that we're a viewer-supported show, and anybody can throw a couple bucks in our hat if you want to see us continue. I think that our voice is sorely needed in this strange place. And we thank each and every person that sends any sort of support. You can do that through Cash App or PayPal, and instructions to do that are in the description of the video. I'm going to take one quick break. It's just a very quick break to remind all of you, including those listening to the audio podcast or watching on BitChute. We don't want to forget our new friends on BitChute. We are unable to broadcast live to BitChute, but we do put the replay every night on BitChute as well. And the audio podcast, of course, is pre-recorded, but we love and appreciate all of you. So we want to remind all of you how you can support us if you choose to. But please hear my pledge. It's not always about money. Or first, my pledge is that the content that we create will always be free. You might have to skip an ad, or I don't want to say skip an ad. You might have to view an ad, listen to an ad, but all the content that we create is free. It's only those who choose to support our work can throw a few bucks in our hat, and that keeps us going here. And we love and appreciate all of you. We read every single pledge that somebody sends in, whether you send it through Cash App or PayPal or the Super Chat button. That money button down there is another great way to help us. Besides that, another great way to help us is to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. You can also follow me on Twitter. It's at Stephen Cambion on Twitter. Just my name, Stephen Cambion on Twitter. At Stephen Cambion. We post all the shows there. So a great way to support us, besides throwing money at us, which we always love and appreciate. You guys help us praise the cash every day. And by the way, I just posted a video of the new land. We bought land in the middle of a beautiful forest, and we'll be building a new, I hope it's going to be state-of-the-art studio, both recording and production studio, video and audio. We're going to be building that starting in the spring. So besides the normal monthly bills that is taken out of the till here for the software or the Google Drive or Spreaker's fee or whatever bills we have to pay, every penny from now until April that comes into the till that we're able to spare will be going into the new studio. We've already purchased the land, and any help and support will be put towards building materials and supplies and other things for that incredible new endeavor. And I have shared with our Patreon supporters and channel members a 45-minute video showing that beautiful forest land that we have recently purchased. And we want to share that. I'll be sharing it publicly in due time, but we always give the channel members and the Patreon supporters first look at exciting new things we're doing here. So you guys get the first look. And I've also just posted our monthly show journal. Every month I post a journal, a sort of backstage view into the show. So let me remind any of you who are feeling generous how to help and support us. And when we come back, we'll read every single super chat, every PayPal pledge, and thank you all for your generosity and support.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Cambion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support.
So we are back, friends, and I also want to mention that I've said this many times before, but I have been neglecting to mention it before. I hate putting anything behind a paywall. And I also understand that there are some people that are often in our audience that may be in reduced circumstances. I know it's tough out there. So we keep a list. I keep an email list. And if you really like the show and would like to get those extra goodies but are having a tough time, I don't need to know the whole story. Just email me, truthseekershow@gmail.com, and just say I'd like the member benefits, having a tough time or something like that. I don't need to know the details. That's your business, not mine. And also we keep that list, and every month when I post the benefits, the extra goodies to either PayPal or our channel members here, I just email it to that email list or those people on the list. I don't want $1. PayPal is $1. The membership is $5. I don't want $5 or $1 to keep you from taking part in the show and the extra goodies if you really enjoy the show, especially for people. If you're unemployed, you need something to do. I would love for you to listen to the extra content that we produce for those members. And I have asked repeatedly to many of the members and to many of the Patreon supporters. Nobody minds me doing that. Nobody's going to get upset like, hey, I paid the $1. Why am I not getting it? Everybody's very generous, and everybody realizes this economy is terrible. It's $4 or $5 for a gallon of gas right now, for 9/10 of a gallon. Things are rough, and I understand and appreciate that. So just send me an email, and we'll get you those benefits. Also, we have Azen says, you got a great radio voice, Stephen. Power radio networks will be calling soon, mark my words. Yeah, we're trying to expand and get on TalkStream Live and a few other places. Part 1 of our distribution enhancement plan has already taken place, because now we're live streaming to 7 locations at once, soon to be 8. And we're also on BitChute in the form of replays. We're on all the audio podcasts, but there are those few other places that we are working on getting distribution on. One of them is a paranormal talk radio network, and one of them is TalkStream Live, and there might be 3 or 4 others we're looking into as well. A big focus of the coming new year is going to be to increase our distribution here as incredibly much as possible. And I thank you. And that great radio voice is not mine. That belongs to Mr. Ian, and we want to thank him for being our announcer, right? Brandy Phillips says, you don't want to be flooded with sob stories. Come on, man. Well, occasionally, Brandy, somebody will tell me a very personal story about losing their job or their wife leaving them or something. And I just think it's really none of my, I appreciate that people would share something so personal with me, but it's really none of my business. So just drop me a note, truthseekershow@gmail.com, that you're having a tough time and you'd like the extra goodies. I'll put you on the list and we'll send them out to you. I feel a little uncomfortable when people share intensely personal stuff like that, but I appreciate that people feel that they can open up to me. So we want to thank, boy, what a generous night. We've got Daniel on PayPal with a kind and generous $55.18 PayPal pledge. And by the way, I will put on the screen any remaining super chats until we end our broadcast tonight, and I will read every single person's message. If you send me, if you send anything into the show on PayPal, be sure to add a note and then give me whatever you'd like me to read. So we have a very nice message from Daniel Black, and wow, thanks for your generosity and support of the show. He says, hey, Steve, as a Jew, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for discussing these disgusting anti-Semitic UFO psychic con artists. I'm not a scholar, but I would love to be a guest on your show. I would love this, to discuss the history of anti-Semitic tropes, beginning with blood libel, then in the late 19th century with the fabricated book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. And I'm familiar with that, Daniel, which is what current anti-Semitic groups basically use as their Bible. I'm very knowledgeable in the history of these anti-Semitic ideas and tropes, with interesting info proving that the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was completely fabricated. I'm also an experiencer, although only 2 times, once when I was 7 years old, and then again when I was 33 years old, and neither experience was very exotic, probably because I don't embellish my stories like 99% of experiencers most likely do. But I'd be open to telling both stories if interested. I was a Patreon member of yours, but ran into some financial issues and had to drop that. No problem. Well, we thank you, Daniel, for your kindness, generosity, and support. And email me, and I'll put you back. I'll put you on that list. You just gave us 55 months of the Patreon dollar benefits, so certainly I'd be happy to put you on the list to get you the extra goodies. And yes, I would be more than interested, especially in the show about those anti-Semitic things. I have, everyone from David Icke to this guy we covered yesterday, Hitler's son. What is his? Douglas Dietrich. Many, many people use that fake book as a source for their proof of some Jewish conspiracy against the world. And I would love to cover that. So make sure that you email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Some people, it's let me put it up on the screen if I can find my banner for that. Some people get the email wrong, and then I don't get the email because it's a little tricky. It's Truthseeker, one Truthseeker, and then the word show. So Truthseeker, and then the word show @gmail.com. That's how you email me. That's the best place to get a hold of me. Otherwise, Twitter DMs @Stephen Cambion. And I would be happy to have you as a guest for both topics. And the porn bots have arrived. But hey, we're an hour and 57 minutes into tonight's live broadcast. Normally, they're here at the beginning of the broadcast. The porn bots must be busy tonight, friends. So xxx18.online says, like my hot photos here. And I'm sure that one of our chat room moderators will take care of that. Patty M. Wilhelm says, please get that man on your show. I would be pleased and delighted to cover that because I think it's a big part of conspiracy land problems. Stephen, would you like to know what's your take about Terence McKenna's statements and knowledge? Plus, love to send some spare money to my heroes. Well, thank you, Complizier. I really appreciate that. Every once in a while, I get a little discouraged, and I have occasionally considered just turning the money button off because it's an attack vector. Occasionally, one of the supporters of these UFO grifters, who, by the way, are making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars selling lies, will come after me because we make whatever we make telling people the truth. And they say, well, you're just like them. You're asking for this, or you're, occasionally I consider turning it off, especially when, I get it at the end of the month, especially people are out of money for the month and waiting for the check or whatever. And it gets a little slow. I say, maybe I'll just shut it off and get rid of that attack vector. But like anybody in life, we do need money to exist and live and pay for some of the projects here and things that we're doing to build the future of the show. But every time I get discouraged, along comes UFO John Doe, or you, Complizier, or some of you other kind of generous benefactors like Sweet Caroline or like Daniel here or others. And it really makes me feel better about the whole situation. Things should be about the law of averages. If we have a night with not much support, it's okay, because the next night we will get a lot of support. I got to try to remind myself of that and never get discouraged. So we definitely want to thank you, UFO John Doe and Complizier and people like Sweet Caroline and Daniel, for all their kindness, generosity, and support. I am eye on the prize. We're building a beautiful studio, which, by the way, will be in the middle of a beautiful forest. I'm so excited about the new world headquarters. It'll be the world headquarters of my company. We're going to have studios there and an office and a workshop and more. Complizier says, you are a real hero to me because of what you're doing, Brady. Well, thank you for your kindness. I appreciate that. Ken Ami says, those jokers are committing a category error. They make money off of scamming. You make money off of investigating and reporting. Well, thank you. I appreciate that kindness. And Ken Ami, I keep forgetting. I've been really busy. You got to come back. I want you to be a guest next week, somewhere between Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I would like to do a show on angels and demons with you. I've been looking into some of your material, and I was impressed with your knowledge. Most people don't know about Lucifer or Satan and what class of angel he was actually reported to have come from. And you did, and that instantly impressed me. And I said, we have to do a show about just angels and demons. So I will email you, or you email me, and let's get that. Let's arrange that. For those unaware, Ken Ami is an amazing researcher and author. Go look on Amazon. Just look up his name, Ken, K-E-N, Ami, A-M-M-I. He's written all kinds of incredible books on all kinds of strange and esoteric subjects like demons, demonology, Jesus, biblical history, aliens, and more. Interesting guy. Looking forward to having another conversation with him. Patty M. Wilhelm is here and says, it's going to be a great complex. We all share in the good things to come. Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to put this out there, and maybe this is a bad idea, but anybody who has ever donated anything to my show, it might take a few years to build that place. I'm still designing it in my head. I haven't put pen to paper yet, but I'm almost there, Patty. I'm this close to. I have it in my head. Got like it's got a lot of angles and things. One can envision an A-frame cabin. Just look up an A-frame cabin, and I'm going to do something like that, but smaller A-frames that are going to be rooms off the back of a larger structure. I'm still designing it, but it's going to be beautiful, and everybody is welcome to come there and visit when the place is completed, especially if you have donated. Maybe we'll hold a picnic there or a special event, and anybody within driving distance. By the way, it's in Pennsylvania, the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. I'm sure going to have a hell of a party, Patty, when that place is finished being built. That's my future, and I care very deeply about doing a really good job building a facility that will facilitate my future. And Patty, I'm going to get a workout with my manifesting muscles, right? Now, occasionally, one of my friends will come to me and say, Stephen, you are different than a lot of people. And I said, how? And they said, well, you come up with these weird, strange sort of fantasies, and then you actually do it. I have had an amazing life. I built a recording studio in the middle of Philadelphia. I ran a nightclub and sort of built that up. I just have had an amazing life, and anything that I have decided to manifest, I figure out a way and I do it. We've now manifested the land. That was the most important first step. You can't build anything unless you have land to build it on. And I looked for 2 years straight. I only looked at like maybe 10 or 15, probably 15 or 20 maybe places in person. Most of them were totally not suitable or acceptable. We finally found an incredible place, and it's on the Patreon in the members only section. If you want to take a look at this beautiful forest we'll be building this state-of-the-art studio in. We break ground in early spring, I think. So I got to get busy on the designs. But I, Patty, am getting an education now in working out my manifesting muscles. I have manifested the land. Now I must manifest a building, a beautiful building, a state-of-the-art building that's going to be built with mostly natural materials. And by that, I mean trees, logs, stone. It's going to have a big, beautiful stone fireplace. I've already decided. I don't care how long it takes me to build that big, beautiful stone fireplace. There's stone all over the forest in this land, natural stone. So just like the settlers, we're going to have a big, beautiful fireplace as the centerpiece of the grand room of the building. Still working out the details, but boy, I am looking forward to flexing my manifesting muscles. I got the land, and to me that was the hardest part, because where it will be is an absolutely beautiful forest. It's just beautiful there, and there's no neighbors for miles, so we can record whatever we want. I could have real bands there and drum sets, and I'm not going to bother anybody in the middle of a forest. But we're going to soundproof those areas. They're going to have sound isolation booths, a vocal booth, and a band room, and we will have video editing facilities. We're going to have an entire room for green screen work, a big room for green screen work. Like I said, I'm slowly working it out. PBR Street Gang, the protocols of the meetings of the learned elders of Zion is real. I'm not qualified to make that judgment, PBR. So, tune in. We're going to have Daniel here, and we're going to be discussing the history of these things. So, stay tuned for that. I'm no expert on those things, but I am aware that a lot of anti-Semitic stuff that goes on in UFO land and conspiracy land comes from the fake book Daniel described. Complicated, as soon as disgusting, not rich, nor third phase of scamming brothers on the moon's cousins check that what? That you make a couple of bucks, then send these porn trolls. Yeah, maybe they're sending porn trolls, do you think? I don't know about that. I really don't. I'm really not quite there yet. Yeah, I'm not a paranoid sort. I will say this, I am still surprised that some people still have a show, given that they were, we proved that they've been lying to everybody. And someone earlier in the live chat said, you should stop fighting with him. He's a good guy. And I'm here to tell you, good guys do not help people scam people with fake UFO videos for 2 years. Scammers do that. Hoaxers do that, right? But we all make our beds in life. And this goofy decided that he was going to get in bed with scammers, and a scammer he will be, right? You can't lay with pigs and not get dirty. And that's what happened. Before then, nobody could question his credibility when he said somebody was a scammer, especially if he had any evidence. And by the way, he usually doesn't. It's just his opinion. People would listen. But now you can't run around telling people this person's a hoaxer or this person's fake when you've been provably caught lying to your audience, dead to rights lying to your audience, and all the excuses in the world. Oh, they haven't, remember that? Oh, they haven't hoaxed anything in 5 years, 3 years. We're up to 1 year. They hoaxed something last year, and he knew about it. And he knew that they were pushing fake videos, and he did nothing. He kept his mouth shut when they did that. Do you know why? Because he's on the payroll of scammers. That's why. And, really, though, I haven't thought about him and don't care to, or third phase of moon. But I will say that there is 2 free documentaries about third phase of fake in the description of this video or the description of this podcast. If you're listening in audio podcast land or wherever you're listening, go to the description of the video, wherever you're watching, whether it's Twitch or, Rumble or Odyssey or BitChute. In the description of the video, I've put it in everything, are 2 really well-made documentaries about third phase of fake, the most successful scam UFO channel on YouTube. I don't know how they're still allowed on YouTube, but this is the world that we live in, who have faked things for literally decades. And of course, the story also details the sad, sad story of the sad, bitter little man, little Rich Giordano, who decided after years of calling out scams and scammers, he would work for them. And we're all supposed to believe that they've changed and they're good people and they haven't hoaxed anything or faked anything in 5 years. Then he went to 3 years. Now we're down to 1 year. Hey, Rich, did they hoax anything in the past year? Or are you going to stick to that? Right? Is that the new line? They haven't hoaxed anything in the last year? Is that what we're up to? Dirtball. And for those unaware, that slimeball show host went around calling people, I don't even want to say the word, went around saying that some people, like me, may have friends that have problem with children. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that word, the P word. And he had absolutely no evidence of that. And why did he do that? Because he knew we were right about third phase of scam, third phase of fake, third phase of moon, whatever. And by the way, you cousins brothers, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. Oh boy, I got so much more. People are sending me all kinds of stuff. People that helped you scam fake stuff. People that you should pay people better when they're in on the scam, you guys. You really should, because there's a lot of bitter, angry people out there see you making all this money and they may have helped you, right? Eisen says, they're hoaxers again. Yes, that's my favorite part of that. I couldn't help it. for those unaware, the documentary details all the hoaxes of Third Phase of Moon, and we put a clip in there of this idiot Rich Giordano from Grift On saying they're hoaxers again every time we caught them in a hoax. It's hysterical. I think it's excellent work. I stand by it, and it was excellent practice for creating documentaries. It's a free documentary. It's in the description of the video. Check it out. And if you really want to help us, you can copy the URL, copy the link to those two documentaries, and share them on your social media, because these clowns are copyright striking it off of YouTube. So it can't be on YouTube because these scammers don't like people revealing how they perform the scams and peeling back the layers of deception and showing everybody how they faked everything for years and years and years. So they're falsely copyright claiming people. And by the way, that reminds me, when I get a chance, I've been very busy, I'm uploading those to our YouTube channel here, and they can fight it out with me. But we will be changing one thing. I think we're blurring the picture of the child's face. For those unaware, Third Phase of Moon once used Blake Cousins' 4-year-old child to scam people for UFO money. Yeah, pretending. They made a 4-year-old child stand there and pretend to see an alien, and then they put it in with CGI and put it up on YouTube as a real and true alien encounter. Nothing says Father of the Year like using your 4-year-old child to scam people with a fake alien video, right? Eisen says he looks so unhinged in that clip too, jaw shaking, great editing. When I saw him say that, I clipped it and I said, oh, I can use that. And I've been telling that dummy to keep my name out of his mouth, but he still keeps calling us the angry channel. I'm not angry. I'm extremely happy. Do I experience bouts or periods of righteous indignation and contempt for scammers like him and his buddies, Third Phase of Fake? Absolutely, every day. But then I laugh it off because I am headed towards tremendous success, and he is in the garbage pail of this entire thing. People know he is a joke. He is the laughingstock of this thing for having backed proven hoaxer scammers for 2 years. They haven't hoaxed anything. They haven't hoaxed anything. And no matter how much evidence we show that they keep hoaxing things, he's got to stick to his guns because he is an intellectual weakling and a lazy slob. And he doesn't have it within himself to do this by himself. So he needs scammers constantly feeding him stupid people to watch his shit show. He can't do what we do here. He can't remain independent and objective and be able to objectively analyze what Third Phase of Moon is doing and tell people the truth. He can't tell people the truth. He's got to keep lying and lying and lying and lying again so that they keep feeding him subscribers. In fact, this clown hasn't got any subscribers in like 6 months, but recently they gave him a bump, calling him out, telling everybody go over there and subscribe. You know, the stupid people that watch Third Phase and don't know they fake everything, right? Great. But that's where he's at. And, I try to not think about it. I laugh to myself. I giggle inside if I do think of him or the Third Phase boys. But like I said, maybe we'll have a slow week and I'll start pulling out some of the other overwhelming evidence of fakery, fraudery, and bull stuff that we have. I've got various folders here. Reminds me, I just got a new one where somebody sent them a picture, which was a suspended camera on wires. They hyped it up as an alien spaceship. It was a suspended camera like you see at sporting events on wires. They pretended that aliens were sighted at a football game or something. It's ridiculous. And by the way, that person told them, this is a camera on wires, but doesn't this look cool? It looks like a rocket ship. They ran with it because that's what they do. It's Third Phase of Fake, sell fake garbage. And anybody that works for them is equally on my list of, we got Dr. J selling the fake Dr. Reed. Oh, it's wonderful, right? Billy Hicks says, we should all have enough sense to know that, quote, cutting out a man's tongue doesn't prove what they're saying is wrong. It proves those who silence them are afraid of what they have to say. Exactly. And I agree with you 100%, Billy Hicks. And actually, them trying to get it pulled off of YouTube, well, they did. It backfired on them. And I believe a lot more people tuned in on our Odyssey channel to see what it is that they didn't want people to see. So it backfired on them. It was like the Streisand effect. More people. Now, if it was on YouTube, it would have gotten probably tens of thousands of views. But it only got a few thousand. One got a few thousand views, and one I think is up to 1,500 or, but we'll take that. And again, I'm going to be posting them right here on our YouTube channel. I refuse to be intimidated by scammers, right? Let them do what they're going to do, right? They're going to try to sue me for copyright. No, every judge in the world will look at that case and say, wait, he's using your clips to prove that you committed fraud against the general public and that you unfairly, unjustly, perhaps illegally accepted money for things that you said were real, that you knew were fake. No way we're not going to win that case. And we are not going to be intimidated by the, scammer crowd. It's ridiculous that you can do an investigative. It's absolutely ridiculous that they think somebody can do a documentary investigating them and all their fakery and fraudery and defrauding the public, and they get to decide whether it is allowed on YouTube or not. No, you're the subject of what is essentially a criminal investigation. You don't get to decide who gets to see that documentary. The person who makes it gets to decide. And unfortunately, they intimidated this Sapiens culture. He didn't want to fight with them legally, couldn't afford a lawyer if they were to choose to sue him for copyright infringement. So he chose to drop it. We distributed it, helped him get it distributed on alternative platforms. And I'm going to distribute it right here on our YouTube channel. We're not going to be intimidated by them. And then, of course, I'm sure that the goofy bunch will start new stuff, They've already, called my wife ugly, said I have friends that have problems with children. They made fun of my dead father. I can't remember what else. Said I look like a lesbian with bad hair. Misgendered me. Kept calling me she for some reason. It's like, what else are you going to do? You intellectual weaklings. They cannot debate me on the evidence that we present. They cannot argue that we have overwhelming evidence of fakery and fraud taking place by them. So what do? Attack me personally. It's the only play he has left, right? Operation Shutdown says third phase are known hoaxers. Yeah, but it's amazing that people still tune in. And it's amazing that Goofy Boy can do the Super Chat Shuffle every day with absolutely... He doesn't have a show. He has, let's play stuff I found on Twitter, and I'll tell you my opinion because I'm an expert. He's an expert at working for scammers. Nobody should trust his opinion or judgment. Here's a guy that posted a picture, essentially, I believe, of a security camera claiming it was a UFO. Forced perspective. It's really laughable. And again, though, I think we've wasted too much time already on that clown. He can't go where I'm going. Disgusting behavior. I agree. I absolutely agree. Called me Kylo Ren. That was not that bad. Well, that guy's a rich movie star, so I don't really care if somebody calls me that. I really, really do not care if somebody calls me that. Popsicle Ocean says Linda Howe is an old reject. I agree, right? I agree with you, Billy Hicks. Billy Hicks says there's only one group of people, to my knowledge, you cannot criticize on a global scale who literally passes laws to ruin people's livelihood and even put them in jail for words they disapprove of. You got to be careful with what you say. Cancel culture is rampant. Linda is the oldest succubus on the planet, still getting all dolled up and lying to the simps. Yeah, it's kind of sad, because everybody says this, but when she started out, she did pretty decent work, and then it got worse from there. It was all downhill. It was like the first thing she did was decent, and then after that, just downhill from there. Now she's telling alien fairy tale stories from her insider, aerospace retired insider, maybe the same insider who gave her the fake pictures of aliens. Who knows? Complizert says, then claim it's a UFO, but keep pretending they are unsure if it's UFO evidence. Yeah, it's a game for them, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Azen says, Stephen, David Wilcock's old conferences, there would be dying cancer patients looking up to him. I've hated him ever since that day. I hope you get him, friend. Well, I think that everybody gets their karmic due. We see it in Goofy. He thought he was going to be the next big thing in conspiracy land, and now he's a joke. People laugh at him. Whether they do it to his face or behind his back is another story, but people laugh at him. This guy that works for Third Phase thought that he was credible somehow. Third Phase, again, are just like Linda Moulton Howe. He's in the same category as Linda Moulton Howe now because he works for them. He's in the same category as Corey Good and David Wilcock because he works for just as big as scammers. Sad, really. Could have been somebody. All you had to do was not take a shortcut and not work for slimeball scammers, but he wasn't strong enough to do it on his own, or brave enough, or creative enough, or personally personally powerful enough to do it on his own. So he had to cheat and work for scammers to feed him stupid people, because only stupid people would believe that anybody that works for Third Phase of Moon is worth listening to. If you're looking for actual truth, if you just want to be entertained by a clown, he's your guy. Good for you. This is true. You're doing God's work. Yeah, I always joke about that. Blues Brothers were doing God's work. When those started, they were good in undercovering their fake claims. Yeah, it's all about the fame and the money. Popsicle Ocean says, and I agree with that 100% wholeheartedly. It is about the fame, and it's about the money. It's a lot of money. Why should you get a real job? You just fake UFO videos for $500 a video. That's about what they make. I've estimated $500 a video for every video full of fake nonsense. Maybe we should tell everybody the truth, but we'll go like, this is our fake video for the week, so we can make the 500 to cover other good work we're doing here, right? No, we wouldn't do that. Just because you look alike, take the blue or the red pill. I think you should take both. You should experience all things and then make a decision, right? That's what I believe, and that's what I think is the best way to do things. I like to say, though, that Truth Seekers is the second red pill. A lot of people think, oh, I'm red pilled. I know all about the aliens and the crash retrieval programs. Never know. A lot of fake stories that were fed to you by UFO profiteering garbage peddlers. You can come here and take the second red pill and find out what you've already digested is true, real, accurate, may have some evidence, may have some meat on the bones, or is totally worthy of throwing in the garbage pail of your mind and never thinking about again. And we're proud of the work that we do here. We have not sold out to scammers. By the way, I'm not even going to get into that. We have not sold out to scammers. We don't give anybody a pass here. So we can tell you the truth and be honest with you. And it's a big club, and we ain't in it. We're not welcome in the scammer crowd, because when we see scams, we call them out. When we see people pushing provably fake stories, we call them out. So we're not very welcome, and it's interesting. I heard somebody describe it as saying somebody in conspiracy land that's been around for a long, long time. Let's just call him a veteran of conspiracy land, said to me once, Stephen, they're never going to give you a spot at the table because of how aggressive you are going after the scams and the people that are selling stuff that might not be true or fake. And I said, that's great. They don't need to give me a place at the table. I'm taking it. And I did. And we are here. And now all of these scammy slime balls have to deal with me, whether they like it or not. I like to think, once in a while, I think, we're doing pretty good work, because if nothing else, these slimy scammers selling fake garbage have to work a little bit harder, right? It used to be a lot easier before we were here. Yeah. Eisen says, blue pill with water, red pill with strong coffee. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, Kepsa says, if I was third fake, drop him yesterday. He brought all this to them because he had to protect their hoaxing honor. Only if he could shut the F up, all of this doesn't happen. Exactly. He brought all this heat on them. But, I don't know. Those guys have a big bromance going. They love each other. I think they blow each other when they meet in person. That's what I think. I'm entitled to my opinion. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? But that's my working theory. They blow each other when they meet in person. That's why they're always, having those trips where Rich goes out to them. Somebody's got to take care of those guys, right? Or do they take care of each other, like the Brokeback Mountain stuff? That's a little scary, right? The Brokeback Mountain stuff. And since we're on the subject here. Such a lovely meme. They're close, those brothers. It's okay. Yeah, wreaking havoc. I'm not going to read that. We're trying to stop cursing and saying all these bad words here, but I agree with you. Absolutely. And I agree with Popsicle Ocean as well. And Complizaire. Absolutely. Craig William. He's going to be sitting pretty in a $1,600 massage chair in only a few weeks. I don't know what that's about. I doubt he's got that kind of money. He's out there begging for pennies every day. And listen, do you know how you know that he is on the take and he can't be trusted? Because he tries to do shows solely about UFOs every single day. There's not that much going on. It's just filling time, showing up and doing the super chat shuffle. And anybody who tells you that there's really enough going on to do shows every single day on a single topic is lying to you, because they have a profit-driven motive to be there and be the, be the clown, get the money, right? I'm thinking about scaling us back. We've been doing 4 or 5 shows a week. I think that's too much. We may scale back to 2 or 3, but do longer and more high quality shows that are a little more research driven and evidence based and full of more data points, right? Complizaire, a threesome with 2 cousins, brothers in an Arizona teepee, open night, skies night. Oh, geez. God would not appreciate what those poofs do to each other's stuff. Yeah. We really went off. See, friends, it's a live show and you never know what's going to happen here. We have really gone off on a tangent here, and now may be a good jumping off point, right? If all of this was happening, it would be on NBC. I agree, right? Asians, hey, Stephen, do you remember in your documentary, the crooked auction men? They seem like creeps. Remember the one-man bun? They all seem close, creepy. Yeah. Third phase is such frauds that they even frauded themselves as pretending to they pretended that they were debunking somebody, and it was obviously a scripted couple of actors pretending in this video they made. It was laughable, right? But hey, whatever devious, deceptive methods you have to employ to scam and con people out of money, do it, right? You hire actors, use CGI, use a 4-year-old child pretending to see an alien, right? Father of the Year award, whatever you got to do. Employ stupid people like Grifton to help you run around telling everybody that you're good guys and you changed and you're not faking anything. It's ridiculous, right? And nice to see you, Eisens, and you have a good night as well. We're going to bounce on out of here, friends. We have done our due diligence for the day. I realize that since we skipped the show on Monday, we have a few more shows for you before the end of the week. I believe we will be back tomorrow night, but it may be slightly later than usual. And I will announce that on Twitter tomorrow sometime during the day. Again, following me on Twitter is the best way to keep up with what's going on with the show. Just follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. I'll be making an announcement. I will tweet tomorrow's show and what time it will be. I'm still a little unsure. I've got a bunch of stuff going on tomorrow. There will be a show tomorrow evening. I'm just not sure of the timing of it yet. So I will make an announcement about that. So, friends, that is all I got for you. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I want to thank all you kind and generous benefactors, Patreon supporters, channel members, super generous people like UFO John Doe and Complizier and Daniel and Sweet Caroline and so many others. It really warms my heart. Such kind and generous people all over the world helping us continue our journey here. I want to thank the chat room moderators. I want to thank our announcer, Mr. Ian. I want to thank our wonderful graphics person for the incredible graphics, as always, Spooky Kari. And I want to thank you for taking the time to join me here. No place I would rather be. And I will return tomorrow evening and we'll have another fun journey into the strange, esoteric, and sometimes scammy world of conspiracy land. That's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.